네, 안녕하세요. 누치 팟캐스트입니다. 오늘
안녕하세요. 우리 한국말만 한다고 그랬지.
한국말로 시작할까?
네, 안녕하세요. 눈치 팟캐스트입니다. 오늘은 특별한 게스트를 섭외했습니다. 네, 여배우. 우리가 십몇 년 전에 적 같은 웹시리즈 K-타운 카보이즈를 찍었는데 이분이 출연도 해줬고요. 네. 그다음에 십몇 년 만에 한국에 처음 방문한 비비안 방님입니다. 네.
와주셔서 감사합니다. But
Can I clap for myself?
yeah. We can switch to English now.
나는 한국말로 계속
Okay,
할 거야.
한국말로 할게. You can talk any Konglish if you want to.
Konglish. I love Konglish.
Okay.
Let's mix it up.
Well, the reason why I started off in Korean today is because Danny all of a sudden overnight got like just on YouTube like 25,000 more subscribers. It's continuing to grow. So by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be a lot more than that.
여러분
A lot of Korean
구독해
followers.
주셔서 감사합니다. 근데 오늘은 이 팟캐스트는 거의 다 영어로 쓸 거라서요. 영어 공부 겸?
Yeah, English class.
네?
Yeah, you can learn English here, how to speak slang. Anyway, Vivian, thanks for being here today.
Thanks
We
for
have a lot to
inviting me.
catch up on. You know, like Danny just said, Vivian didn't remember that she was in K-Town Cowboys because last week we hung out and we were, at some point I was like, oh yeah, and Vivian, you was in K-Town Cowboys. She's like, no, I wasn't. And I was like, yes, you were. In the web series, not in the movie. Like,
That's right.
You were in the
That's what I
Bobby Lee
thought.
episode.
Yeah, you
the
were.
Bobby Lee episode.
Yeah, you were.
I think I was fan of Bobby Lee. Yeah. I'm always very famous for being someone's fan.
No, you were my fan in the movie.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was Danny's fan.
But Vivian is a great actress. Every time I see her, I'm like, God damn it.
Amazing actor, but also a director, a writer, a producer, like all around just amazing.
Dressed like a garden gnome
artist.
Wow.
A garden gnome.
I should come here more often. This is nice. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we love having friends that are visiting Korea join the podcast whenever possible as well. Like normally it's just me and Danny speaking and we just catch up on what we're doing. But this podcast, we talk about Korea, basically. Yeah. Life in Korea.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that too. So that'll be fun.
But I think for you said you like before we were rolling the cameras, you said you haven't been here 14 years.
Yeah,
it's been
14 years.
So you've been here for about a week, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
How you feeling? What was like? Oh, this is awesome, and what was like?
Culture shock?
I don't get this.
난 한국 너무 좋아요. 한국 사람인가 봐 진짜.
다행이다.
진짜 한국 사람은 한국 사람인가 봐. 정이 너무 많이 있어요. 그냥 여기에 대해서. 정이 있고 또 what's the other word we have to say? 한도 많고
But Han is more.
눈치도 있고
눈치도
아니
있고.
actually 나는 눈치는 없어요. 좀 바보 같은 애라서 눈치는 별로 없고 yeah. It just feels really cool. I don't know. It feels really fun and it is home. It's the motherland for me.
Because I did like brief Wikipedia research. You were born here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 7살 때 미국에 immigrate 해서
Oh, that's a long. You were here a long time then.
yeah, 7살.
Oh, do you know what area?
So my 단어 didn't improve. I have the vocabulary of a kindergartner, but I can express very complex things in Korean using kindergarten vocabulary.
In Seoul, where did you grow up in Seoul?
서울에서 태어나고.
오, 부잣집. 오, baller.
그랬겠지 뭐. 그랬나?
Yeah, that works.
몰라. Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
부잣집.
So, it's interesting because my parents, they immigrated 1978 and they never came back for 25 years.
Yeah.
And so when they first came back, they kind of expected the Korea that they left.
Yeah.
But 1978 Korea was,
I always say like, you know, our parents of our generation, like they don't develop with Korea. Like Korea is so progressive now and the way that they think is so progressive, but our parents are stuck in that time where they left Korea. So they're so behind in terms of like traditions and what they expect from their children and kind of etiquette and rules. And it's like the early 80s or, you know, they're stuck in the 80s. And I'm like, Mom, people don't think like that. Like nobody lives with their parents anymore. And it's like,
how do you say onions in Korean?
파, 아니, 마늘. 마늘?
No,
garlic.
onions.
Onions. 마늘, 아니야?
No, that's garlic. That's scallions.
Yeah.
파?
Like,
파도 아니고.
or how do you say radish? Oh no, what do you call it? The yellow takgang.
닭강.
That's old school Korean.
It is?
We learned that when we came here.
Technically, it's Japanese.
닭강이라고 이제 안 그래?
Takgang is Japanese.
그럼 뭐라 그래? 닭강.
단무진.
단무지.
단무진. 아유.
무지.
Yeah.
닭강도 이제 못
And then
지키고.
tamanegi is how I used to say onions.
타마네기 맞아.
Yeah, but that's Japanese too.
Yeah. So they're trying to
So
like
they-
get rid of the Japanese, like the origins of Japanese.
But my mom
stuff.
still says those words, because
she hasn't been here.
she immigrated in '68.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So her language is very '68 Korea.
I mean, if you even go even crazier, like chopsticks, like, some people call it warabashi, which is
Warabashi?
which is Japanese, right?
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just came from Japan.
Oh yeah, you were there a
I was
week,
there
right?
in Tokyo.
Yeah.
it's so fun. But yeah, some of my friends I'm traveling with who are Korean American,
Mm-hmm.
I think their parents, when they came, some of my friends, like their parents immigrated even way earlier than my parents, like in the 70s.
Yeah.
They're pretty like still very the history of like, you know, Korea, Japan, like relationships still very, very raw for them.
Yeah.
And so in turn, like she's been, you know, influenced by her parents.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
she was like, I don't like Japan, you know, like, I don't like Japanese people and I don't like Japan. Like I was like, all of Japan, like all Japanese people, like it's so different, you know.
Well, my mom has like a lot of traumatic like memories of Korean. Her father died in the Korean War by a bomb.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So she never she has no interest coming back. So even when I got married, we were gonna get married here. She's like, "Oh well, have a good wedding." And she didn't want to
That's
come
so
back.
crazy, Bobby, that your parents didn't come to your wedding.
But we ended up compromised
there.
and we went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And so we flew my wife's family to Hawaii.
Oh,
and then
because they wouldn't come. Yeah,
we all
that's
met
right.
in the middle.
I knew that. Yeah. Oh
So-
my gosh.
But yeah, that's like my mom, she just is in her way. She's old. She's 80 now, right? And so she's just like, a lot of our parents kind of come from that era.
Yeah.
Right. And so so much has changed.
Yeah, even like
Well, like-
K-Town is like
K-Town.
K-Town LA.
It's caught in some sort of era.
So I
different
didn't,
mold.
so I didn't grow up with any like Korean Americans near. Like when we immigrated, first we were in San Francisco, but then we went to Atlanta, Georgia. And during that time, and we were, you know, I lived in a very suburban kind of place. So I was very insulated. It was very homogenous, very white culture. And so I never saw any other Asians like me. So it was totally like, try to be white.
Yeah.
So I had that whole era of my adolescence and you know, formative years. So it wasn't until I came to LA way after, and then I lived in New York for a long time. So it wasn't until I came to LA that I was like, oh my gosh, you know, there are other Korean Americans like me who are very creative and doesn't follow the norms of what I thought was, you know, Korean.
But when you first got to LA, did you jump into acting and like creative work?
No. So I was in New York. I have always like, you know, I went to NYU.
Yeah.
I went to NYU Tisch for like performance art.
Yeah.
And kind of, it's very like artsy, like experimental theater and making stuff like, you know, content making in a very different, but not content making as we know it today. But it was making content for you know, in performance. And then, but I was working a lot commercially. Like I did an episode of Sex and the City while I was still at NYU and everything you could film in New York at that time. And then it got to a point where it was like, oh, if you really want to do more commercial, big, you know, mainstream work, you have to go to LA because that's where all the studios were. So that's what took me to LA.
Okay.
So I had kind of like a body of work already. And I was kind of, And then when I got there, you know, it's like you have to start all over.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, that's what's so interesting to me about you guys, because you totally did the opposite of what our parents did, which is like they paved the way to immigrate to the US and become like American citizens, and then you guys came back as foreigners.
I mean, and they didn't bother to learn English too in the States, and my Korean is just as bad as their English was probably. So my son is only 3 years old, but his Korean's like surpassing mine right now. So it's the exact opposite.
That was kind of like me. Like I learned English so much faster than my dad.
I'm literally just raising him so he can be my interpreter. You know, he can order.
He's your Sharon Choy.
How does that feel? That must be so foreign to be a constant foreigner.
Man, like
and to be reminded that you're a foreigner. In your
I mean, that's been my life for the last 11 years. You know, I've acclimated somewhat. Like my Korean is a lot better than when I first moved here. You know, I play it down a lot on the show and like in with people. Like I always tell them my Korean sucks, but really I take emails and write emails in Korean and so
껌 좀 씹은다고.
Wow.
껌 좀 씹은다고.
But we all met in LA around like early 2000s, mid 2000s, right? And so that's when Asian Americans, there was not a lot in like the entertainment scene.
No.
So
Not commercially.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there was always, like the Little Tokyo, like, the musicals and you know, that crew. Then there obviously, you know, all of us, we'd see each other at like commercial auditions.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was me and Aaron Takahashi and fucking Randall Park.
I actually set up Randall Park with his wife.
Oh,
Jay.
really?
I'm the
really?
reason that they met. I mean, I didn't set them up, but I knew Randall very well and Jay, of course, separately. Yeah. And we were all at a commercial audition for either some car like Volkswagen or I don't know, Toyota, one of those cars. And Randall's over there and Jay's, you know, so I talked to Randall for a while and then I walked over, I was talking to Jay and then I'm like, Randall, come here, you know, come meet Jay. And it was kind of like, I knew they would get along, but it was literally like Randall, like love at first sight. He just like beeline for Jay. He's like, how do you guys know each other? And then it was like after 5 minutes of them talking, it was kind of like, okay, go away. Go away, Vivian. You know, like we got this. And they're like, I think we're gonna, you know, nobody like hangs out and gets coffee after auditions. You know, we're just like ready to get back to our own lives because it's such a hassle to drive.
Because the 101 sucks ass.
Exactly.
Wherever you're going, right?
But they were like, we're gonna get coffee, you know, after, and I was like, oh. And they're like, would you like to join?
The eyes were like, no. The eyes were like, no, like, don't say no.
So if I had said yes, they would not be married, maybe. And I knew to say no. So
to our listeners, we're talking about Randall Park. I'm glad you brought Randall up because he's also an actor. You might have seen him in like Ant-Man.
Yeah, he
Marvel,
he has a show on Netflix, Blockbuster.
But I want to talk about a movie that you were in with him called Always Be My Maybe with Ali Wong.
That's right.
Do you guys have Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix.
You know the comedy movie? Yeah. Always Be My Maybe.
맞다. Oh yeah, always be my. What's the Korean?
They all know it because of the Keanu Reeves scene, and you're the scene stealer in that. Not even Keanu Reeves is the scene stealer. It's just Vivian. Like I rewatched it today, and it's
Keanu
brilliant.
Reeves.
It's so good.
It's Keanu Reeves.
I was like, holy shit, Vivian's fucking crazy. I love it.
Ali Wong wrote that part, you know, with all the girls that she knew in San Francisco that were very specific. But funny enough, when they were working on the, you know how that movie came to be?
No,
right?
no, I don't.
So I guess Ali had just done this very successful Netflix hour comedy, right? So she did an interview and they asked her, you know, in magazines when they ask you, so what's next?
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know what's next. And I think she and Randall had briefly talked about, because she was a writer on his television show.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they briefly talked about, oh, we should work on a project together, you know?
Yeah.
So Ali's like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about a project with Randall. You know?
It was just one conversation.
It was just like and so then after that interview came out, because she was so popular, all the agents were calling like, we want in on that project. And so Ali and Randall was like, oh shit, we better write this. So that's how they wrote Always Be My Maybe. And then in the very beginning, because I have been friends with Randall for so long.
I mean, you introduced him to his wife, and so he's like, he owes you
I don't know
a
if
solid.
he remembers that. But he should remember that I'm the reason. I try to remind them every time I see them, but I don't know if he remembers. Yeah. So he asked me to come for a table read when they were working on the script.
Okay.
So I read that part from the very beginning.
Nice.
And I think Randall had mentioned that from the very beginning, they always knew that it would be me.
Of course.
But the funny thing is I had to audition for it just like everybody else. Okay. And I auditioned like almost 8 times.
Damn.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. First, studio wanted to hear it and full on table reads for like 8 times. And
do you know who you beat out?
I think Jessica Chastain was one of the worst.
What the?
I think something like Jessica Chastain at one point wanted to like be in a comedy.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be in a kind of a multicultural show.
Yeah.
I mean, there was talks of it. So that's why they had to put things on hold. Like maybe it wasn't Jessica Chastain, but it was somebody like really big like that who wanted to be a guest, to be featured in that role. And so they had to hold off. And I think, I don't know what the behind the curtains, talk was, but they were like, it doesn't make sense. We should give it to Vivian. I don't know. All I'm saying is I tried very hard.
That means 8 auditions. Other people are auditioning just as much.
Yeah, like
trying
hundreds
to get
of people.
that.
First, But
Most
I really
people don't
do
know
think
that,
it was like kind of written for me. It just I just knew that character very well.
I actually didn't see the movie. I just like scrolled to all the parts of Vivian. I was just like, I just want to see your parts. Like,
Bobby.
I don't know. I love Randall and stuff,
I saw it
like,
all.
I don't have I have a lot on a list of things to watch that my friends have done.
Yeah.
And that's my excuse. But I love everything Randall does. I love everything Vivian does. Yeah. And so I will get to it.
Okay.
But I had, we talked about this, I had my Randall story too, because of K-Town Cowboys, I got an agent.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. So they were sending me out on commercial auditions and stuff. So my very first commercial audition, Randall Park was there. And he was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm the singer-songwriter. It's like, oh, I don't know, man. Like I got this.
Well, it's funny because actors work for years, being, and we're going to trudging and doing this audition thing, and then out of nowhere you just show up. You're like, hey, what do I do?
And literally, I was just like, oh, I don't know what I'm to do. Can you have any advice for me? And he's like, yeah, Bobby, you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get this. Like, just relax, go in there. They know what they want. It's not you. And just don't be nervous because you're not going to get it. And
that
then
probably helped you, actually.
It did. I was like, oh man, I was all bummed out and stuff. I went in, I was like, I was totally just relaxed. I was like, I came out and then I got a call from my agent and she's like, hey, you got a call back. So you have to go to this thing. Then the next, I was like, thank you. So I call Lanny at the time, and I was like, hey, what's a callback? And he's like, why? He's like, oh, I just got a call back on my first audition and I don't know what it is. And he's like, you got a fucking call back on your first, I haven't had a call back in 6 months, you motherfucker. And I was like, what?
Beginner's luck.
Yeah. And so I never got to really thank Randall for that. But and then a few weeks later, I moved to Korea. Literally, that's what happened.
Wow.
And he didn't tell his agent. So
I didn't tell. Yeah.
His agent was sending them out.
I got this email. She's like, hey, you have an audition tomorrow. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in Korea. I don't think I'm coming back for a while. And then she's like, good luck. Let me know when you come back. Oh man.
I mean, Randall's the first person I called for my first audition too.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't see him there. But I knew Randall through the stand-up comedy scene. And so I was like, hey, Randall, it's my first audition. And he told me the same thing. He's like, you're not going to get it. Right. Yeah. So just fucking relax.
Yeah.
And just live your life. Don't even think about it.
Yeah. That's such good advice.
Right. And then the second person I called was Bobby Lee. Because Bobby was the one that got me the agent.
Okay.
And Bobby goes, you need to leave an impression. I was okay.
Oh man.
Okay. So
no pressure.
So I remember it's for Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
Right. And they had orange cream something drink, right?
It was like a milkshake.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they just gave me a cup and they were like, okay, pretend that there is actual this orange shit on there and just when I say action, just pretend like you're eating it.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, at the time, this is the stupid part. Yeah. Bobby's more famous.
Yeah.
I should have listened to Bobby.
Not Randall.
Right. And I swear to God, I gave this cup like imaginary head. Right.
Yes.
Right. Like I fucking imaginary cup balls. I was looking at that shit too, right? Right. The casting director goes, okay, all right, cut.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you very much.
And then
No second try.
No,
Can you no notes?
No.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Can you not
Can you not fondle the imaginary balls?
I was fucking around with them.
Kids are watching.
What the fuck are you doing, right? And so it was like, okay, all right, thanks. And then so I get back in my car, right? And so this was in North Hollywood, the audition room, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like stuck on the 101 traffic, just going, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
That's where it hits. It's like after the audition, stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
You are like
you
choices. Choices you make in your life.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
really?
What
Absolutely,
choices
dude.
are you making?
Did you get a callback?
No.
Because you didn't listen to Randall.
I should have listened to Randall. Not Bobby. God damn it.
The impression is like, do not ever call this guy. He's disgusting.
So yeah, that's but yeah, I should have listened to Randall.
It's funny.
Oh, man.
That's the moral. That's the title of the episode.
Yeah.
Always listen to Randall Paul.
Always listen to Randall.
I have a question for you.
I think like Artist Way is like so individual. You can't listen to. Yeah, it's you.
Yeah,
you know? It's your choice. Yeah, go ahead.
So you still go on auditions,
Of
right?
course,
And
yeah.
a lot of it is like video. Do you have to send in video these
It's
days?
now self-tape because of It's great actually. You know how everyone's kind of working remotely now. It's kind of afforded, nobody wants to go into a casting office and be, in like physical IRL.
Yeah. So you prefer like doing it by tape, would you say?
I mean, it's got its good things and bad things. Like the plus side of it is that it affords you this, like I actually live a lot of my years in Atlanta now. Like now I just relocated and I can live in Atlanta and then just like work in LA because I still have space there, so I can go back and forth. And it's
Before
like afforded,
it's
afforded me like this kind of independence from like waiting for auditions, because you're kind of like a prisoner of like, they might call, I'm on call. It's like if you worked for a hospital, you feel like you're on call, so you can't make any plans because if you plan to go on vacation, it's like they call you with an audition. It's like, sorry, I gotta like cancel everything. Now it's like, you have freedom to be anywhere because you can just self-tape and send.
That's good.
That's the joy. That's the good part. The bad part is that, if you make choices that are really far off,
you don't get notes.
The casting director is not there to be like, no, Danny, stop, making love to the cup, like.
But that's for like...
He didn't do that for me, motherfucker. He could have said, just normal. I could give you a normal take, bro. Like, I could have done that, right?
But I can imagine, like, if you're going to, like, 8 different auditions, like, eventually you'll get to a point where you can, like, communicate with, like, a casting director, right?
What do you mean?
Is it, like, 8 tapes you send in? Or is it, like...
Yeah, sometimes it's crazy. I mean, now because everyone's sending in tapes and so many more people can.
Oh, it's more people.
They have, like... where it was like they were looking through hundreds of tapes, now it's thousands. So they were looking at thousands of tapes. Like you're not gonna, So I feel like these days, honestly, they have their list already of like the 5 people they're considering, and I think there's still a chance, but like, it's really. Sometimes I'm like, it's like a vacuum. You send it out, it's like, oh, did it get there? Did it? I don't know.
Yeah. What happened with Sullivan and Sons? What was that process like?
Oh, that was really interesting. Yeah, that's very nerve-wracking. I don't know if it still works like that, but a network show, is even like more grueling than like a
movie or like a film.
Because you have to go through so many steps. Like the first,
even more.
Because the creators audition you first step, then the producers,
Uh-huh.
then the studio, then
Oh, I
like
didn't know
the
that.
bigger company, the mother company that's going to make,
Yeah.
you know, it's like many steps of
And
exact.
then technically the first episode's a pilot, right?
Yeah.
So
So then if they say, yes, we're
Mhm.
going to make this and you have the role,
mhm.
you make it, you shoot it, and then you show it. And then it's like, are we going
A
to go
waiting
further
game
or
and
are we
like-
not? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that. So
Yeah.
that's like 6 months of your life,
Yeah.
you know.
And you've
then-
had a lot of pilots, like
yeah,
right?
I've had a lot of pilots
Okay.
that I've done.
Did you have this like, you know, when you first started doing this, right? Where
Acting?
acting,
Okay.
where you book something
Mhm.
commercial,
Mhm.
right?
Commercial. Okay.
Like you book something like that's commercial, like whether it's a TV show or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all my friends who ever booked something thought that, okay, this is the beginning.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be fucking famous
Yes.
within.
Oh,
few
they're like,
years,
I made it.
I made it.
Yeah,
Right?
but that's the trajectory
Yeah.
of like
Right.
an artist's life.
Right.
Mm.
Is that there is no going up, you
Right,
know, like
right.
as a dentist, you finish dentist school,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
whatever, you
right.
climb up, you're an apprentice or
Yeah,
this level,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you rise up, or even corporate life,
Uh-huh.
right? Like there's like you get promoted.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's no steps for like as soon
Yeah.
as one gig, you know, you do this one gig, and when that's over, it's done. You
Yeah.
know, and luckily, you know, you get another job off of that because
Yeah.
somebody sees you. But sometimes it's not, and you're just starting all over again. So
Yeah.
it's like a little mini death, and then
Yeah.
you start over.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes like you're on the When I was doing that sitcom, I thought, man, my life is set. You know, I had a parking spot at Warner Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the same, I think we shot in the same stage that Friends shot.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the same
Okay.
like studio.
Yeah.
So like I had maybe not, maybe it was one over.
Mhm.
Anyways, I had a parking spot with my name on it,
Yeah.
you know. So that was like 3 or 4 years, you know, of my life, and I thought my life was just gonna
Yeah.
go. And then we got the news that Warner Brothers went through restructure. Or TBS. TBS
Uh-huh.
went through a restructure, and the president of the company quit. He's going to Fox, and then we got a new guy, and he was like done with most all of the shows on TBS.
Oh, really?
Didn't
Okay.
even hear us when we wanted to pitch what our next episode might be like, and so we got the call like, "Hey, we're not going further." So that's
Damn.
you know,
Yeah.
and then overnight your life changes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, I'm sure I'll get something." You know, I was on a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
No. Dead silent for a year. I didn't work for a year after that.
Shit.
So how did you
Yeah.
deal with that? Like that 1 year of just hearing no's or
I mean, it was weird. Also, I think, I mean, not to dog on sitcoms, but sitcoms, like the style of it is such a very specific thing. Like writers are right there with you,
Right.
and we film it in front of a live audience, and it's kind of about selling the joke.
Mhm.
And I'm like an artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm an actor with a
Yeah.
very different approach to
Uh-huh.
like how I act and tell my stories. And a lot of times I was, you know, I think it's an art form, sitcom. And so sometimes it can be a specific style that you get used to. Just
Yeah.
like doing TV versus movies, sometimes there's a very different style because TV, it's a lot of talking and words because the writers are clever and it's a box that you're watching. Whereas movies can be slow and there can be no dialogue and you can watch this like 10-minute landscape long shot you know, going and you don't have to have any dialogue, you know? So
Man,
it's a
you
very
are a
different-
director too. You're really expressive and like you can like paint a good picture.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm saying that every medium has its format. And if you think like YouTube is different than TV, right?
Totally, yeah.
YouTube like needs to be faster, you know, right? Than even more than TV. And TikTok even more, you know, right?
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Short form.
So, every medium platform has its own style. So I was doing sitcom forever, you know, for not ever, but 3 or 4 years. And so the next time I was auditioning for even like dramatic roles, I was kind of using sitcom. Like I had
Oh,
like
really?
sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
Like do ha! You know, that's where the joke lands. And they're like, okay, could you just drop everything you're doing and just do it natural? And I was like, I could do that, but
Yeah.
I just wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wouldn't get that second take.
because like, you know, Steve Byrne is a stand-up. Ahmed's a stand-up.
Yeah.
Roy Woods is like they're all
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a bunch of those
Oh my
people were
gosh,
stand-ups, right? So
Brian Doyle Murray,
Yeah.
who is Bill Murray's brother, and
Yeah.
he wrote Caddyshack.
yeah.
He was in there, you know, like
I was
You were on the show, right?
I was like an extra for some. Me and Shane were extras. Steve calls me and goes, "Hey pal." I was like, I hate when people call me pal, but hey pal.
Oh my god, that's exactly like Steve.
Can you do me a solid? I was like, whoa, what's up, man? He's like, I have a part for you, and I thought it was gonna be like a
speaking
feature.
part.
I thought something you can contribute to the story.
I thought it was gonna be a 3-day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like just, and then all of a sudden, hey, so someone's gonna call you, and then Central Casting calls me, and
Casting,
and I go, oh,
that's the casting extras.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, thanks, Steve. You could just found anybody else for this one. Fucking asshole.
The look of a guy who can make love to a cup.
Well, I thought you had a speaking, didn't you? Oh, that was Dr. Ken.
That was Ken's show.
Ken,
See? Ken Jung.
Yeah.
Ken Jung.
You did speak on that show.
Oh, yeah.
In Korean or something. Yeah.
I was, Ken loves me better than Steve.
Vivian also has like most people, you would think that most Kyopos or Korean Americans can do like a Korean accent, like they're from Korea. Vivian actually has a good Korean accent.
Do I?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, I know because I saw your film White Rabbit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You in the beginning.
When I was doing the auditions?
Yeah. It's so funny. Like she can actually do it, right? And Danny can do it as well.
Okay.
So we should talk in like a Korean accent for the rest of the show.
그냥 막 시키고 말이야 그냥. 네가 여기 대장이야.
No, the English Korean accent is when you're speaking in English, like,
forget,
would you like a cup of coffee? Or like, but you're really good at that.
Yeah, you 여기. Yeah,
that's a good one. Right? That's a good.
Yeah, no, you 여기 캡틴이야, 새끼야?
I also feel that changes, especially with young people in Korea. I've noticed because I've spoken Korean to some of the people that are here in Korea. Yeah, their English is like the accent is different than our parents' accent.
Yeah, it's better.
Also because the 영어 학원 that they go to, it depends on what English-speaking country the 선생님's from.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, 학원.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. I'm so glad my parents took me to the US because I would have never made it here. I would not. I would have been like the 꼴동. What is it?
꼴등.
꼴등. 꼴등. I would have been 꼴등. Like, I hate 공부. I am not good at structured learning.
Yeah.
I see kids they're eating dinner 5 seconds so they can rush to 학원. And I'm like,
totally.
Where are you going? Why have to rush? They're like, I don't want to miss 학원. And I'm like, what's going to happen if you miss 학원? It's like, you die.
Yeah, seriously.
You don't make it to the university and you die.
It's intense.
It's kind of sad. Just watching this competitive, so that they go to these, prestigious schools so that they can go work at Samsung. You know what I mean? I go, that's sad. You know what I mean? You don't have to do art, but you can think outside the box as opposed to being
I know, but don't you think we hustle too? Not in that way with the 학원, but we hustle.
Yeah.
It's so competitive. So our daily life is a grind. So I imagine whether you're in 학원, although I'm just don't you want to go to the movies? Don't you have a date?
Yeah.
Don't you have a crush on someone? It's but maybe they're at the 학원.
Do they cut school in Korea? I cut school all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even know if that's a thing
well.
here.
I think only the gangster kids or those types of kids. But you guys weren't gangster kids. You guys were just normal kids.
I feel like everyone cut school, even the good kids. At least once a month or something. Everyone's cutting school.
I mean, our high school had the good idea of letting seniors out of campus for lunch. And that's a terrible ass idea because nobody else came back.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't believe the how kids study here. I think it's gotten even worse than when, even when I visited 15 years ago or 14 years ago, it was really competitive, but I think it's next level competitive right now.
Yeah, I mean, they stay in Hagwon past 10 p.m., and then they just wake up really early. Are
you going to have your kids grow up here?
My wife is she really would like us to take advantage of the fact that they're dual citizenship. So they can, we can go to the States. They can do, so she really wants me to think about that. In the future, eventually at least send them to school in the States because they have the option. For
Do they
me,
speak English too? The
no,
kids?
my
You have to get them to speak English.
my son
I
kind of
guess
gets
Korean.
really annoyed when I speak English, so
That's
he'll
'cause
like
he's not
yell.
around other English speaking kids, maybe.
Like I'll put on a movie for him every now and then, and then I'll put on the English dubbing, or like just like a Pixar movie and just like put it on English, and
Yeah.
he's like, "What's this?" It's like put on the Korean.
Oh,
like he knows
man.
there's an option for Korean, so
Mm.
he's like, but he's only 3 years old, so
he's
you know.
Yeah.
he's anti-English.
Yeah,
My niece, I have a niece in the States.
Mhm.
She's 5.
5.
And she's Hapa.
Uh-huh.
So she's
Okay.
Hapa.
Yeah.
And I want her to be excited. I think Hapa kids, like they can
Mhm.
go either way. Like some are really excited about learning Korean because
Yeah.
maybe they're around their grandparents or
Yeah.
other kids, I don't know. But my niece is so anti speaking Korean.
Oh,
Every
really?
time I
Okay.
speak Korean, I'm like, 한국말 재밌어. 우리 한국말 하자. And
Yeah.
she's like, I don't know what you're saying.
That's cute though. It's cute.
I'm like, it's really fun, Zuri.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
you're gonna regret
Yeah.
not knowing Korean when you're,
Yeah.
this. I'm like, Korean's all the rage, like pop culture. You're gonna
Mhm.
want to know what the K-pop,
Yeah.
what they're singing.
So she's not into BTS yet. As
Not
a
at
5-year.
all.
As
As a
She's
5
5-year.
years
as a
old, are
5-year-old.
5-year-olds like into K-pop?
I don't know. I mean,
They're still
Could
into.
be. I think
Yeah.
if she was savvy, she
I
would
mean,
be.
I think she's graduated from Baby Shark, bro. Like, you
Okay,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
Baby
So-
Oh yeah,
Shark.
Baby Shark is definitely done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, damn, man. Like I recently just passed. It's been my 5th year anniversary here in Korea, right? And
Yeah.
it's been a blur. Still not fully adjusted, but I think,
The Kyopo scene is really funny here, huh? Like,
Yeah.
So-
it is.
everyone kind of knows
where do
each
you,
other.
Where do you live, by the way? Like, what?
I live in Sinchon near Hongdae. So,
Hongdae.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it seems like Hongdae, Itaewon, that area is like very friendly for
Foreigners and
expats.
expats.
and,
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Itaewon for 3 years, in Hongdae for 5 years. There you go. So
yeah.
now I live in a Korean neighborhood.
How's
And I
that?
don't see any foreigners, expats ever.
So how is that adjusting?
It's just like a family neighborhood.
Mhm.
So I feel like I've been brushed aside. Like I feel like all my
Being
expat friends, they're like still in Itaewon or
Yeah.
in Hongdae.
It's a very tight community too.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Like
I
was
never get
saying-
invited to anything. They're like, "Oh, he's over there."
But it's not because he's over there. It's because he has 2 kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get the story
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
It's
And he always
not
looks-
that you're in a different.
Yeah.
I don't have like a scarlet bee on me. Like you
Yeah.
can still talk to me.
No, you can
know,
see it
it's
in your
like
eyes. The bags under your eyes. You look like
It's
a
like I have more important things
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
yeah.
than worry about what you guys.
I guess, yeah.
I moved. I mean, I was like staying with a friend in Itaewon when I first got here, and then given that like all my shows were in Hongdae, and I realized that my Korean needs to get a lot better.
yeah.
So I decided I need to not hang out with English speaking people.
Oh, okay.
And
so
so I'm-
한국 사람들만
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So 그래서 많이 늘고, and also just
Yeah.
like picking up like phrases and things like that. Like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, and then
Yeah.
like
tell me.
껌 좀 씹은다고.
Yeah.
I learned that watching Korean drama.
What does that mean?
It means like you're chewing gum, so
Yeah.
you think you're all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've
like
never
you
heard
think
this.
you
I'm
know
learning
how to
from you.
chew gum. Like it doesn't translate to English,
Yeah.
like some of these phrases,
Yeah.
but they're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Korean
Yeah.
language is so fun,
Do
like
you-
especially these.
You know what my favorite Korean phrase is? It's like a perfect phrase, but they don't have it in English. It's called 이불 kick,
이불 kick.
blanket kick.
What does that mean?
So it's like when you're laying in bed and you like regret something and like you just kick the blanket. I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
Like when you
Like,
think
instead of
about like
kicking
third
yourself,
grade,
yeah.
I like said something stupid in class and people laughed at me and I was like, I kicked the blanket. You kicked the blanket.
Yeah.
It's like
that is so
isn't that an
right
awesome
on.
phrase?
Yeah.
Evil
Yeah.
kick is
Yeah.
a pretty
Yeah.
damn good.
Yeah.
That's the name of my next album.
Evil kick.
Evil
Evil kick, yeah, or blanket kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote
Blanket kick.
I wrote a song called Blanket
근데
Kick.
한국말로는 어떻게 말해? 이불 킥?
이불 키크.
이불 키크. Yeah, I'm having a really hard time reading all the Korean signage because they will say like Earl Grey tea,
Yeah.
but it'll be like in Korean like
Earl Grey.
Earl Grey. Where's
Earl Grey tea.
Earl Grey? And I'm like Earl Grey가 뭐야? It's like Earl Grey. Okay, you know, like they have all the like names in Korean but
치즈버거.
with the accent. With the accent, they write it in the accent.
Yeah.
치즈버거.
찌찌버거.
Most things I read. I whenever I'm on the bus or like on the train, I'm always reading stuff like random things, and then I realize most of it is like just Korean writing, but they're English words.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell? I need to learn Korean, like.
But you say it out loud sometimes. One time we were walking and he's like, 산부인과, right? But you said it out loud, right? What is that?
산부인과. I remember I was like,
yeah. And he's like, what does that mean? He's like, gynecologist, right?
Yeah. And I just see next to me is like, what the fuck? I'm like reading it out loud.
That's like
gynecologist.
That's like a scene in
I just see
Rain Man where Dustin Hoffman's like, whoa, like reading all this stuff. You're like,
I still have trouble saying English words. When I like, for example, like algorithm.
You just said
algorithm.
I know, I can, but Koreans will be like, "What the fuck is that?" Right? So you have to
algorithm.
Algorithm. Like all that's like, and then when I say it, especially on stage, right? I'll be like, "Yo, like They
don't get the joke. Yeah. You're like, "Oh, I gotta say it." Yeah. That's funny.
By the way, we totally just brushed by the fact that. How do you know the word gynecologist?
That's true.
Danny's vocabulary in Korean is just like
he picks up on the things he picks up on.
Yeah,
he must have been dating some girls with some appointments.
In LA, I dated a few.
So there's two ways to learn Korean, right? To like rid yourself of any expat friends and like English speakers, right? And then just have Korean friends, right? So get out of Itaewon, basically, right? And so for me, or date a Korean person, which is what I did. Like I've been with my wife for almost 11 years now, right? But my Korean still sucks. Like my nagging is amazing. It's on point.
잔소리.
So,
잔소리는 잘하고.
So, but for Danny's like I admit, like he's much smarter than I. You know? And so
you don't have to admit, everyone knows, bro.
So I like for Danny's Korean has always been good. Like even before I moved here, and when he visited like the first month I moved here, and he stayed with me for a little bit, and I just remember being so relieved, like that Danny could actually translate things for me, and I was like,
Thank God you're here.
After 2 weeks, I was like, don't go, like please. I don't know how I'm gonna survive this country.
So what you're saying is you're the reason he's here.
I kept nagging him because my nagging was on point. So it's like, Danny,
it's true.
Wow.
No, it's true though. Bobby, he kind of planted it in my head when I first came to visit like 11 years ago. He said, imagine if you did stand-up comedy in Korean. I was like, nah, that's fucking crazy. It don't exist, man. My Korean's not that good. He's like, I mean, verbatim is what he said. You could be like the Richard Pryor of Korea, man. Right. No,
Are you the Richard Pryor of Korea?
No. I don't know.
Now, who's older than that?
But he said George that, and I was like, no way, dude, right? And then, as fate would have it, I'm here doing that.
Wow.
And it's blowing up because of me.
That's right.
Think about it. Think about it.
You owe him dinner.
Yeah.
I do. More than that, but yeah. You're right. Bobby 때문에 제가 대박 났습니다.
All of our lives, it's because of somebody, Randall Park.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
who was that person for you?
Oh my gosh, my teacher. Yeah. At a high school, Miss Pam Barnett. She, in school, I was so shy. Like, I know you guys can't believe it.
I can't.
But I was a very, very shy person. I didn't speak, I didn't have an identity. I hated where I was growing up. It was very suburban.
Yeah.
I'm a very expressive person and everything I was wrong for this culture that I was living in. So I just didn't speak. And somehow my teacher, she just, for some reason, saw something in me and she cast me in her school play. But before that, in America, like football, it was like a big thing at my school and I hated football, but there was a football band, the band, and the band had this like crazy show. And what the theme of it was like the gorilla and the starlet. And for some reason, she was like, I want you to play the starlet. And I was like, what? And so she put this like golden thing on me and I had to walk with the marching band, during halftime of football. And I played the starlet, with this gorilla. And I had it in me to perform. I was like the shyest kid, but performing, I could just express, and I was like moving my like butt like this and this. And they're like, what is she doing? And I was like, boom, 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 like moving it from side to side. Like, and I just had like this kind of performance. I don't know. For some reason, she could see that. So then she cast me in her play. She sent me to this like governor's honors program where you could spend a whole summer with like the kids who are going to the most prestigious like performing arts high school for drama. They had all this history of like knowledge of theater, where theater had started, all this like the writers and the playwrights. And I knew nothing. And I went and I got in and, then I applied to NYU and got like a full scholarship.
Man.
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam. And what did your parents do? I'm sure your parents are fairly conservative, right?
Yeah. They immigrated and they had stores. My dad's actually quite, he's like a very like, he was the president of the Korean Grocery Association. So he always knew the power of collective. So even as a foreigner in a very suburban, like Atlanta during that time, like just didn't have a lot of Asian immigrant like programs or, orgs to have power or say. So he knew to like develop that socially and collectively.
Oh, yeah.
So he started a lot of the programs that are in there now. And so he's a very forward thinking man. And I think that's what I get. That's why I like theater or even any creative collaborations because you have to work with people, and like anything you could go, what is it? Like if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go long, then go with people.
So your dad like helped a lot of people then I'm sure
he
get
really
like
did.
started. Right?
So they're very kind of liberal, like progressive people. But of course, like for them, the idea of
아이고 우리 딸이 배우가 된다고.
Because I learned that in Korean society, like even during my mom's age, like the idea of even being a news anchor or news, like any type of person who takes up space or wants to be seen is considered very vulgar. So nobody wants to take up space or be seen. If you're a performer, that's like you're a riffraff. You're like really low class because the whole idea of Korea was like do not take attention. Do not want attention for yourself. So, my mom has the ski, right? She's got the gi. I love that word, gi.
What will you say gi is?
I don't say it factor, but like kind of like the
that's something where you're attracted to.
Yeah. Gi is more like kind of like a performer. Like it's in you to like be able to like you want to sing or act or just be funny.
Yeah. Or like you like nightlife. That's gi too. You have that something that just it's some the performance element. Yeah. So she had it. So, but because they grew up in this culture where kind of performance was like thought as very like low class. Up until. Right? Like Korean, I mean, it changed like, I feel like so fast. Whereas now like everybody wants to be a YouTube star. Everybody wants to be K-pop star, right? Like people now want to be seen. But that was not like how Korea was during my mom's time. So again, because she went to the States, she was still stuck in that time. So it was really hard for them to even grasp. And, I wasn't very like, I'm not like a traditionally attractive person, or I didn't have that kind of like, oh, you can be Miss America. I didn't have like the looks for anybody to think like, oh, you're going to make it. Like we were just discussing about how a lot of beautiful models, they're celebrated because of their looks. And so they can easily attract audience. But I didn't have that. So she was like, what are you going to do? How are you going to, what are you going to do? Like, there's no way you can survive, and it's only when I started making a living and I could, show them the money. That's when she was like, okay, you're good.
Yeah. Or like, throw them a little 용돈 at the time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's like, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's why all the like YouTubers can do what they're doing because there's so much evidence. Like you could show your parents in like case study,
that
like
it's legitimate.
That's
for
why
us growing up, we couldn't like say, "Hey, look who did it." Nobody did it.
Yeah,
Like it was like no one.
nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
엄마 나 Johnny Yoon 되고 싶어, right? like what you know. Apparently for like a lot of a survey of kids in Korea, like the number one occupation they want to be YouTubers. YouTube stars.
Now,
Yeah.
It makes
For sure.
sense.
It's so funny how that's changed.
Yeah. I was like, but you know, I mean, we came from an era of like, even when YouTubers came, we're like, ugh.
Yeah, we were like, ugh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
looked at social media
totally.
and had a judgment about it.
Yeah.
I think we still do.
Yeah.
Some of my friends who are in their, like 40s or whatever, like they're like, I don't like social media. You know, like it's kind of looked at as vulgar that you want attention all the time, that you want to express yourself all the time to people. It's like, who are you expressing to?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we have a value system about that. So that's changing.
It's like you can't deny it. Like you can't look away though. I mean, it's so important. At least for my kids, like for my kids' sake, I try to stay like in the know for them at least and see how like everything's changing. Because I can't be like they use the word konde in Korean. It's
What's
like
konde?
it's like a old grumpy old man
a
giving
boomer.
It's like giving advice when no one's asking for it, you know? And so I want to at least have like some sound advice for my kids as they're growing up. Like I want to, so I still do social media. I try to like stay up on top of all this stuff.
I loved what you told me, like when we were hanging out, you said all the stuff that you're posting, it's like a document so that like your kids, when they grow up, can have some knowledge of who you were as a person.
Yeah, I don't have
beautiful.
Like my dad left nothing for me. Like I have
it's like a total mystery. Of who was he?
Can you imagine if our parents did podcasts when they were younger and we could just like listen to it now and be like, oh, that's what?
Yeah.
like
my dad was a jerk.
yeah.
아이고 데니 아빠 술 좀 그만 먹어. 야영이 양반아 지금 카메라 켜졌는데 비싼 돈 주고.
Yeah, that's like,
it's funny calling it's sarcasm to call someone 이 양반.
양반,
right.
yeah.
이 양반이.
There's actually a new restaurant in LA called Yangban. It's good. Yeah.
Dude, I haven't been in so long.
Yeah. When's the last time you guys were in the States?
I
was there in September.
For your movie, which was so good.
No, I was there this September just to visit.
September.
Yeah, but like I didn't go to K-Town. I just stayed in Redondo Beach because the kids they were spending time with their grandma. Mm-hmm. And then we were only there for a week. But I didn't get to see what's happening and going on.
I heard a lot has changed.
Yeah.
People are moving out of big cities.
I
think like New York, LA, everyone's kind of moved out.
Yeah.
They're kind of going towards more like,
Texas.
Because you can be local. A lot of people can work from home. So now it's kind of given everyone the freedom to be like, oh, maybe we could do more like local communities, local, go back to the land, farm, have a garden, have space.
I love that. That's what I want.
Go chew and eat it.
I mean, is that why a part of the reason why you moved back to Atlanta?
I think a big reason for me was I really wanted to be near my niece because, I'm not having kids.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah.
So my niece is kind of going to be it. And I didn't want to miss out on that. And also, because now I can be anywhere. Atlanta's a good place.
Man, I envy
really
you.
Fun.
Why did I have kids? I'm just like,
don't say that.
Oh man, fucking 2 minutes ago, you were like, imagine if our.
Well, I'm stuck with them. I got to give them something. Episode 113. This is like it's in the books, so they can look it up one day and be like, I wonder what that. By then, everything's gonna be documented in a way like everything's tagged and like. It's just gonna be all right. So Big Phony, Bobby Choy. What does he think about? I don't know. Korean culture in 2005, or like I don't know. And they're gonna figure it out. I don't know. It's just gonna be like Siri's gonna tell them your father used to believe this and that.
One thing about Korea I have noticed since my last time here, which was like 15 years ago, is I do remember like kind of subways and areas like where like there was a lot of noise, I remember, because people were talking. And now it's like dead silent because everyone's attached to their phones.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just so quiet in there.
You were in Japan. It's even more quiet
Oh yeah,
there.
for sure.
Yeah.
That I expected because I always felt like Japan, like their culture is about following order. And like, this is the way, like running, no. You know, like just follow the rules. But like, I always felt like Korea, it was a very like, I saw young kids always connecting and they're rowdy and loud. And, you know, like Koreans love to like talk and engage and share. So it's so strange.
Well,
now
you
to
haven't been
see.
on the playground because it's loud as fuck.
Oh, is it?
It's just like,
Or
these kids are so
Just come
annoying.
to-
or the line number 1
kidding.
subway.
Line number 1
is fucking wild
Really?
over
Is
there.
that the line I need to take?
Yeah.
Experience
Just try
Korean
it.
culture.
No. You're gonna see some wild shit. Like
Okay. Line
before.
one.
It's not an overstatement too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's really
Yeah, before
it's,
COVID, like I remember this ajashi straight up just opened a bottle of makgeolli
in the subway.
right? And I'm
Yes.
just looking at him because he's pouring it into a
It's like,
kit
I'm
cup,
living my life.
and he's just drinking it. And I look at him and he goes, "마실래?" And I was like, "네." He goes,
No.
Yeah, so I gave him a drink. I was like, 감사합니다.
네.
역시 장수 막걸리예요.
That's
You know,
good. I love that.
But then, like, you know, drunk people, line 1, it's just bad news.
Okay.
Yeah.
a lot of weird stuff on the one. I guess the equivalent in the States is like actually in LA, nobody takes the subway, right? There is a subway there, right? But buses. I used to take the bus when I lived in West LA.
Yeah.
Only to Santa Monica because I worked at the Apple store. But the bus, weird people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of weird people. Most people have cars, right? But
It's a
then
very car culture. Yeah.
And then they say, like, on the subway and on buses in Korea, they tell you, like, try to keep noise to a minimum. Like, you know,
no conversations.
don't
like
be on the phone. The KTX is even worse. Like, they will shush you. Like, and I was like,
the bullet train to Busan.
Yeah. Like, I remember.
Oh God, Japan was really funny. Yeah, I felt like I would talk and like my voice would echo.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh sorry, I don't want to disturb the peace. But I thought that was quite beautiful actually. I took the cable. I went to Hakone to do hot springs and onsen, and in one of the things you could do there was take the cable ride.
Yeah.
Past Mount Fuji and all that. And there's like a couple, and they were like whispering, like whispering. And I was like, that's so sweet. So they wouldn't like disrupt the kind of the serene, quiet ride. So I just thought, you know, like that's not a very American concept. You know, that's why we had it so hard during like the beginnings of COVID, because it's such a individual, like, be happy, man.
You
like,
can't silence me.
Yeah, it's
kind
like
of
all
thing.
about individual needs, like versus collective. And I feel like the idea of like, just like altering your individual need to serve the community or collective as a whole is a very beautiful concept. It can be.
Korea, actually, good on Korea for that, for coming together during COVID. Like, there's no question. Like,
I mean, my gosh, we didn't even know how to test people in the US. Like, we were trying to figure out, like, how does one test? Like, it took 7 days to get your test results back. Korea was already like, so.
You know what? What I felt like I had a what do you call it? Identity crisis during COVID was because I'm you know, Americans don't want to be like on the grid, so to speak. You don't want to, you know, like, so like I don't want the government to know where the fuck I am at all times, right?
Yeah.
But
privacy is the new status.
Yeah, but in Korea, like, you'd have to get vaccinated, and once you're assigned this QR code, and then you'd have to, every restaurant you go into, you have to say that you're
you
here,
have to prove that you're
right? And so that way, within if someone caught COVID in that area within the 2 or 3 hours,
then you get a notice.
and you get a notice like you need to get your ass checked, right? So like, so I'm just kind of like, is this good or bad? You know what I mean? Like, as an American, you're like, I don't want them to know where the fuck I am.
You don't want to be controlled.
You
don't want to be
I
mean,
it can be looked like that, but in terms of like serving the collective, of course, that's the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a smaller country. There's less ground to cover, but like overall, like when the majority is on it together, and they're just kind of like, you know, all right, let's get through this together. Like no one's really complaining about these things, and like, it was. I was happy to be here during that time, and then the other thing is like, what do you call it? The shit. My brain just went empty right now. I think it's because we just hit an hour.
Oh, okay.
And so,
but isn't that always the kind of the conundrum, like that dichotomy of like, you know, wanting to be individual and to be like your own like freedom versus like serving the collective and like conforming so that, you know, like I think all of us are so individual, right? Like you have your way, definitely not have lived your life in any like set rules, right? So you've had your own like path, your own beat. But then like there comes a time where sometimes you have to conform to whatever societal like roles are because your needs change. And so I think that's okay to sometimes go both, you know? I think when you're too rigid about like, this is the way because this is freedom for, you know, like I think there needs to be room for both. So yeah, I think I do criticize Korea's like, you know, like fashion, for example, like trend. I feel like either somebody's in the know about what's cool and then you're not.
Right.
So, you know, whereas like, actually, Tokyo, I felt like the kids were much more expressive in the diversity of what is kind of, you know, fashion.
Yeah.
But here, I feel like there's one fashion.
I mean, you know, like the term hipster, right, in Korea is like they want to be called that. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it's not like an insult to be like you're hipster.
Yeah. So that's a weird thing is that like they want.
Because
it's
Americans don't want to be labeled.
Yeah.
No matter what the label is.
Yeah.
You know? If you called me a hipster, I would really.
Yeah, you would.
I'm Korean because I think the word hipster is cool.
Yeah, like so you are Korean.
I totally think. I almost called you a hipster last week because I was like, "You're so cool. Like, I want to be just like you."
You wanted to call me a hipster
because you're so cool.
이놈의 자식이 그냥.
뭐라 그랬어? 한 번만 더 얘기해봐.
It's like I know what I was gonna say earlier, like about CCTV. Like in Korea, also like. Everyone knows that they're being watched. Like the government knows where they are.
Surveillance.
Like, right? Surveillance, like CCTV. That's a reason why you feel safe here because people won't try shit because they know there's a camera everywhere. Right. And Americans, they might not want that so much to always be watched.
But the fact is, Americans are watched. It's like a culture that knows they're being watched. Like, what do you prefer? Knowing that there's a CCTV and that we're being watched, or like as Americans, like you know, our phones are watching us, but like some of us know that and some of us don't. I mean, you're being surveillanced in the States by you know these oligarchies or whatever. I mean, that's what you know, like capitalism. You know, whatever. Who knows what they're going to use these informations about us, but they have all the information of us, you know, like on our phones, you know, you talk about like, I don't know, like BTS and all of a sudden you get all these ads of BTS, you know, your phone.
Next week.
Now I'm gonna get it. Now I'm gonna get stop it.
BTS, Danny Cho. Look, your phone just came on.
But you know what BTS stood for us, right?
What?
Like growing up for Kyopos.
What?
BTS is burning Dongkomong sensation. You don't remember that? No, like maybe it was like LA and New York thing.
Yeah, LA and New York thing.
Yeah.
Burning Dongkomong sensation.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get so much shit right now from the army.
Whatever.
No,
because
I don't even know what that.
No, but I'm not making fun. Well, see, here's the thing. We're not
part of this.
We're not making. Okay.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Even if we say it like this, like people just take things out of context anyway.
Yeah.
We're not making fun of BTS, the group. We're just saying that 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't alive for because I'm very
we learned it this way, you know?
Yeah.
Now the joke is even their song titles kind of fit BTS.
That's funny.
Fire, Dynamite, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Save Me, right? You know, and I say shit like that, and people go, "Oh, how dare you make fun of our oppas?" I'm like,
I didn't say it. Vivian didn't say it. Danny said it.
Danny said
내가
it.
했다.
Let's
씨발.
get it.
내가 했어.
Let's get it
내가 그
straight.
개그 쳤어. 씨발 새끼들아, 덤벼. Right? So like, you know, like I mean, you know, I'm getting. By the way, like with this newfound little bit of popularity boost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm getting a shit ton of like hate comments.
Oh, hate too. Yeah.
With adoration comes just as much hate.
Yeah.
That goes hand in hand.
So I get to go back to America then, motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Comments
Oh really?
a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I go.
Yeah.
Do you respond?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
They say like, bad press is no press or no reaction, or no comment.
Yeah.
If you're getting hate, that means you've made it, Danny.
Yeah. Danny.
I get it all the time.
Don't
I get it.
forget
Hate,
us.
that means you've made it.
When you got on Sullivan and Son, did your non-actor friends go, "Oh, you're gonna be big. Don't forget the little people."
No. Also, like I didn't really hang out with actors. Like, my life is very like, I think sometimes I don't always like hanging out with like entertainment crowd.
Yeah.
You know, you're thinking about work all the time and everyone's hustling. So you don't want your whole life to be dominated by this conversation of like hustling, you know?
Yeah.
No, because I thought to myself that every time something like a little thing happened, right, where like I booked a commercial and it was national or whatever, and I would get messages from my non-entertainment
you're
friends.
gonna blow up.
No,
Yeah.
and
You're
they
gonna
would
blow up
and
after this.
and then they would say that shit like,
Yeah.
"Oh, don't forget the little people."
Oh,
And I go, I realize the people that said that, I already forgotten about them.
You have forgotten the little people. There are no little people. Come on.
Oh man, I am starting to get hungry.
Yeah. We've hit the
Hour mark.
the
already,
hour mark.
Like a while ago.
That's a good sign,
Okay.
you know, because time flew by.
Okay.
And this was so much fun.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah,
I
we're-
can't believe I came to Korea and I'm doing a podcast
I know,
with
it's
my
crazy.
LA friends, my LA, like ex-LA friends.
Because we don't like to pressure our friends vacationing here, like to be on the
Right.
podcast.
I was like, I don't know
it's
if I can come. I mean,
Yeah.
I have plans with my group of friends.
Yeah.
It was like,
But
no,
totally,
of course
like
I'm
we're
gonna
so
come.
glad
I
you
love
came.
You guys. Yeah.
This was so much fun.
I mean, dude, I
yeah.
haven't seen Vivian in over 10 years.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't really born, like,
Yeah.
because I'm forever, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But thanks,
Um,
Vivian, for coming out. Is
yeah,
there
it's
there
so
anything
fun.
that you want to plug? I guess if there's anything.
Yes.
Yes.
Plug. I do have a film coming out.
Okay.
Not a film that I made. It's called The Parenting, and it's a New Line.
Mm.
New
New
Line
Line
Cinema.
Cinema's film. It's going to be a horror comedy, and I think it's going to be really fun.
That means
Yeah.
it might come out in
Horror
Korea then, because like horror films like play here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horror comedy. Like
Horror comedy, but it has like, I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to ask you about this later. But yeah, that's coming out, and yeah, I don't know what else. I'm gonna be making stuff, but yeah, nothing
We
to
got to
talk
get you
about.
casted out here in some Korean films.
Oh yeah, wouldn't
Yeah.
you guys want to see
Yeah.
me in
Hell
a
yeah.
Korean show?
Yeah.
Like I'd be a fun kyopo that comes to visit
Hell yeah.
and be like, "Hey guys, oh sorry,
Yeah.
is this how it's done?" You know, I am like actually, you know, a long time ago, Grace Lee, she's a filmmaker,
Yeah.
awesome documentary filmmaker.
she did the
and-
Grace Lee
the
project.
Grace Lee project.
Yeah.
She actually had a movie with, I believe, CJ Entertainment with Sandra Oh, and it was
Mhm.
called Smells Like Butter. And that was like, I was going to play the best friend who
Uh-huh.
was a kyopo who is like so in love with Korea. And she
Yeah.
comes to visit Korea. And I'm like, 언니, you know,
Oh, yeah.
like Korea's awesome. Let me show you everything Korean, you know? So I was so excited. And I was going to come a month before to research Korean culture.
Yeah.
I was so excited. And then something happened and it all fell through like
They didn't even film
2
it.
weeks before.
Did they
started
film it?
shooting. Yeah, her whole production company was here
Yeah.
making all the all her crew
Oh,
were
okay.
here. The crew was here.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Ali should have said that on an interview. Probably could have been me.
But yeah, so I've always wanted to work in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We put it out there. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Put
I
out in
think
the
I'd love
universe
to do
and
like an indie film
Yeah.
or like, even a show. That'd be so fun. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Like
it'll
I feel
happen,
like it's gonna
sure.
happen. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll definitely
Awesome.
happen. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and we have so many actor friends back in the States that are connected to Korea, whether they're Korean or Asian. Like,
Oh, really?
I feel like we should just make something
I know.
where everyone comes out. Or like, yeah, we have so many friends that love visiting Korea.
Yeah.
They're actors, they're entertainers. And
I've always wanted to make
Yeah.
a show kind of like, or a film, like an indie film, kind of like before sunrise, where it's like it takes place in one day, an intense like kind of connection
Yeah.
with the Kyopo girl
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
visiting and a native, you know, because it happened to me actually in Busan. You know, just them meeting at a local theater and
Yeah.
like talk, you know, spending the day.
Yeah.
Kind of talking about you know, the diaspora, the Korean diaspora, but also
Yeah.
the differences and likeness of living.
Write it. Just write
I?
something. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll get
So
you
what
the
happened?
production.
By the way,
like,
what
all
happened to this Busan ajoshi? What happened to this guy?
Oh, it was so fun. I was with a boyfriend in the States at the time, so I couldn't act on the attraction. But we had the most romantic Busan rendezvous day where he we watched 2 movies because
Yeah.
it was during the Busan Film Festival.
Yeah.
And all of you guys, all of Linus and everybody, they did this whole thing where they partied hard
Yeah.
all night long till the dawn. And as I was leaving to go watch movies, Linus was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to go-
Yeah.
So we had this. So I was by myself because everybody was, you know, dead,
Yeah.
partying. So they didn't want to watch any movies. And I got up. I was like, this is Busan Film Festival. I'm
Yeah.
going to catch 2 films. So I went by myself, but I didn't speak great Korean.
Yeah.
So I went to the theater and I remember this guy, he looked like a professor, you know, and so I was like, 아저씨, 뭐 볼 거예요? 나 여기 한국 영화 저 잘 모르니까 좀 말해주, you know, suggest something. And he's like, actually. And then he chose 2 films for me and watched it with me. And then he took me to this alleyway and treated me to authentic Busan food.
Oh, good.
And I was just like,
That was
and he
an
told
alleyway,
me
like-
about indie scene here in Seoul.
Yeah.
He was a professor of cinema here. And I was like, oh my God. You are so dreamy.
Yeah.
And he's like, 서울 다시 가면 언제 서울 가세요? You know, and I was like, tomorrow I'm leaving for Seoul. And he's like, let's connect in Seoul. And I was like, okay. And then I took his number and I never could call him because I was, you know, I couldn't do that. I couldn't cheat on my boyfriend.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
No way. But I was always that, what if, you know, what if?
We got to write something. You should write something.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll make
So
it happen.
You guys will make it happen?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, cool. I'm going to make this film.
Absolutely, we can
Let's
make it.
cast Cho In-sung as the name.
As
the professor.
dude.
Cho, is that his name?
Yeah, Cho In-sung.
Cho In-sung?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Cho In-sung.
Cho In-sung. Will you be my film professor?
All right, we know who your ideal type is.
Oh, no, I just said that because I saw him just recently
Oh.
pop up in some Netflix.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. 여러분, 많은 구독 너무 감사하고요. 네. Vivian, 넷플릭스에 나오니까 많이 봐주세요.
네, always be my maybe.
I don't know what the Korean
Always be my maybe.
Or if you just
Always be
search
my maybe.
your name, Vivian Bang, on Netflix, all your movies come out, right?
Oh, okay.
All your stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's how it works. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
watch White Rabbit too. I don't know.
Oh my
if they-
gosh. Yes,
Yeah.
please do.
Please watch White Rabbit. Where can they find
Wonderful
it in Korea?
movie.
I don't know if they can stream it here. Can they stream? I don't know. But it
Koreans
was at
are the
Sundance.
masters.
My first film, my first feature was at Sundance, and we sold
That's
it there.
right.
Boom.
Yeah.
2018.
Boom.
Koreans are the masters at finding everything and
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
online.
White
so
Rabbit,
they'll find it. Yeah, White Rabbit.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
여러분 감사합니다. We'll see you next week on the Noonchi podcast. 알겠습니다. 알았어요.
네.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Yay!
알겠습니다.
That was so fun.
God damn.
Oh my god, you guys are fun.